let's discuss question number 9, and this question number 9, distinguish between simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Basically this question number 9 contains 5 parts and we have to distinguish between all of them into different parts. So on this first slide we have the first part of this question number 9, and we have to distinguish between simple epithelium and compound epithelium. So let's write the difference between simple epithelium and compound epithelium. First of all, I hope you know what is simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Simple epithelium is the epithelium which is consisting of a single layer of cells, right? And in the compound epithelium, it is consisting of many layers of cells. Also, an important feature, very important feature of simple epithelium is the presence of basement membrane in them. As they are consisting of only single layer of cells, all these single layer of cells are attached on the basement membrane, which is acellular. And this basement membrane you will not find in the compound epithelial tissue. If we talk about the main functions or primary functions of these two tissues, epithelial tissues, then the simple epithelium is concerned with the function of absorption and secretion in the body. And if you talk about the function of compound epithelium, they are mainly concerned with the function of protection. They provide protection to our body, right? They provide protection to the specific organs wherever these compound epitheliums are present, and has limited role, limited function in the absorption and secretion, right? So this is the basic difference between simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Let's write this. So in the left column we are going to write simple epithelium, and in the right column we are going to write compound epithelium. Now, the first point of simple epithelium is it is consisting of single layer of cells, attached to the basement membrane, right? And if you talk about compound epithelium, then it is consisting of many layers of cells, This is the first distinguishing feature of simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Let's talk about the another one, that is the function. So it is mainly concerned with, we are talking about the simple epithelium. So it is mainly concerned with the function of absorption and secretion. And if you talk about the second point of compound epithelium, then the compound epithelium is mainly concerned with the protection of organ, right? So this is mainly concerned with providing protection and has limited role in absorption and secretion. The last point to distinguish these two kinds of epithelium is examples. If we talk about the example of simple epithelium, you will find this simple epithelium in the stomach, intestine, PCT, that means proximal convoluted tubules, and then blood vessels, right? These are some examples of simple epithelium. If we talk about the examples of compound epithelium, you will find it on the dry surface of skin. You will find it in the inner linings of buccal cavity, pharynx, etc. Right? So this is the answer of part 1 of question number 9. We have already distinguished between this epithelium, simple epithelium tissue or simple epithelial tissue, and your compound epithelial tissue or compound epithelium. Now moving on to the next part, the B part of the same question, and that we have to distinguish between some other terms, right? So here in the second part of the same question, question number 9, we have to distinguish between cardiac muscles and striated muscles. Alright, so in the left column we are going to write about cardiac muscles, and in the right column we are going to write striated muscles. Now, what are cardiac muscles and what are striated muscles? Cardiac muscles are the special kind of muscles which are involuntary in function. Involuntary in function, that means we cannot regulate the muscles of cardiac. We cannot regulate the cardiac muscles. They are involuntary in function. They are involuntary in nature. Whereas if we talk about the second type of muscle, that is striated muscles are the muscles which are voluntary in functions. We can regulate them. We can regulate the contraction and relaxation of these muscles. Hence, they are voluntary in function, voluntary in nature. And these the cardiac muscles, are involuntary in function. This is the first feature which distinguishes these two types of muscles. The second feature which distinguishes or differentiates this cardiac muscles from striated muscle is the cardiac muscles are multinucleated muscles with branching. The cardiac muscles or the cells of cardiac muscles are multinucleated and are branched. If we talk about this striated muscles, then they are also multinucleated but they are unbranched. The cardiac muscles you will find in only heart. Only heart is made up of cardiac muscles. Nowhere you will find this kind of muscles in your body. Cardiac muscles are only present in your heart. If we talk about the striated muscles, you will find striated muscles in your limbs, your biceps, triceps, etc. These are voluntary in nature and are found in triceps, biceps and limbs in your body. So these are the differences between these two, and let's write answer. The first point of this cardiac muscle would be these are the special type of muscles, special type of muscles, and they are involuntary in function, involuntary in function. Then if we talk about the first point of this striated muscles, then these are the muscles, these are the muscles with voluntary nature, That means we can regulate the function of these muscles. These are involuntary in function. Cardiac muscles are involuntary in function, whereas the striated muscles are voluntary in function. The next point of this cardiac muscles is they are multinucleated. They are multinucleated with branching. That means they are branched. And the second point of striated muscles is also they are also multinucleated. They are also multinucleated but are unbranched. And if we talk about where do you find these cardiac muscles and where do you find this striated muscles, so this makes the third point of this. So cardiac muscles you will find in the heart. Cardiac muscles are present only in the heart. Then the striated muscles you will find in the triceps, biceps and limbs. So this is the basic features, these are the basic features which distinguishes between cardiac muscles and striated muscles. So along with this we have completed solution number B of question number 9. Now let's move on the third part of the same question. The third part of question number 9 is asking to distinguish between dense regular and dense irregular connective tissue. So we have to distinguish these two tissues, dense regular tissue and dense irregular tissue. Now let's write answer number C of 9. In the left column we are going to discuss dense regular tissue, and in this we are going to write irregular tissue, dense irregular tissues, right. So if we talk about the first point of dense regular tissue, then the collagen fibers in this dense regular tissue, the collagen fibers are arranged in rows between the parallel fibers. And the first point of this dense irregular tissue is the collagen fibers. The collagen fibers are arranged irregularly. Then this dense regular tissue you will find in tendon and ligaments. So tendon and ligaments are the examples of dense regular tissue, and here in dense irregular tissue the skin is example. You will find this dense irregular tissue in skin. Right? So this is your solution for part C or part 3rd of question number 9. Now let's talk about the next part of the same question, that is part D, or this question contains adipose and blood tissue. We have to distinguish between adipose tissue and blood tissue. Alright, so if we talk about adipose tissue, then adipose tissue is consisting of collagen fibers, elastin fibers, fibroblasts, adipocytes and macrophages. Right, all these actually fibers, fibroblasts, macrophages, elastin fibers, collagen fibers, all these are the components which makes up adipose tissue. Whereas if we talk about the blood tissue, then blood tissue is composed of RBC, WBC, platelets and plasma. Right, so this is your composition of blood tissue. Then if we talk about the adipose tissue, what is the function of adipose tissue? So it helps in the synthesization, storage and metabolism of fat, whereas blood functions for the transportation of food, waste, hormones, etc. in your body. Then if we talk about the third feature of adipose tissue, you will find this adipose tissue beneath your skin, and you will find this blood tissue in your blood vessels, right? Now let's write the answer of this question. We will distinguish blood tissue and adipose tissue. In the left column, we are going to write adipose tissue, and in the right column we are going to write blood tissue. So the first point about adipose tissue is it consists of collagen fibers, elastin fibers. The first point is it consists of collagen fibers, elastin fibers, fibroblasts, macrophages, and adipocytes. Whereas if we talk about the blood tissue, then it is consisting of RBC, WBC, platelets, and plasma. Now the second feature about adipose tissue is the function. What actually adipose tissue functions, right? What is the function of adipose tissue? So it helps in the synthesization storage and metabolism of fat. Whereas if we talk about the function of blood tissue, it helps in the transportation of some substances like gases, food, wastes, and hormones as well. Now you will find this adipose tissue beneath your skin. The adipose tissue is present, whereas this blood tissue is present in your blood vessels. Right, blood vessels are the site where you will find the blood tissue. So with this we have completed the D part or fourth part of the same question. Now moving on to the last part of the same question, last part of the ninth question, that is we have to distinguish between simple glands and compound glands. So if we talk about simple glands, they contain isolated secretory cells, isolated glandular cells, whereas the compound glands contains clusters of secretory cells. If we talk about the simple glands, they are unicellular, and the compound glands are multicellular. If we talk about examples of both these two glands, then we have example for simple gland as goblet cells present in the alimentary canal, and for compound glands we have examples salivary glands, right? So now we are going to write the different distinguishing features between these two. Here in the left column we are going to write simple glands, and in the right column we are going to write compound glands. The first point of simple gland is they contain the isolated glandular cells, whereas these compound glands contains the cluster of secretory cells. They are the clusters of secretory cells, and they are isolated glandular cells. The second point is they are unicellular. They are unicellular. They are multicellular. They are multicellular, right? Now if we talk about the examples of simple gland, right, we have example of simple gland as goblet cell in alimentary canal, and we have example for compound gland. Example for compound gland is salivary gland. So this is your example for compound gland and example for simple gland. With this we have completed the last part of 9th question, and also we have completed the whole question number 9. Now we are moving on to the next question, that is question number 10.